So, what up, my peeps? Matrix Native here. And in today's video, first, let me thank everyone that went to the Twitter to vote for the next viewer history and build. I also want to thank everyone that drops by our channel, leaves me a comment. I try to reply to them all, and you never know, your comment might just make the next video. Also, big shouts out to my boy Hawaiian Infantry. He's about to get deployed. I think we're at 2 days and a wake up. Safe travels to you, my friend. We'll miss gaming with you on Xbox. But if you get over there and it's a vacation, I guess we'll be gaming again, huh? Okay, so for today's build, let's track operators. Today's build, I'm giving you the New Zealand SAS. Now, that will make their trifecta on the SAS, all the regiments. So that'll make the trifecta as far as history and builds on our channel with the SAS. You can look at the comments and hit up the British or the Australian SAS. With that being said, operators on your feet! So, the New Zealand Special Air Service, abbreviated as November Zulu SAS, makes sense, right? NZ, New Zealand, was formed on 7 July 1955 and is the Special Forces unit of the New Zealand Army, closely modeled on the British Special Air Service, and let's not forget the Australian Air Service. And you can find both those builds and histories in the comments below. The New Zealand SAS traces its origins to the Second World War and the famous Long Range Desert Group. Side note here, I am familiar with the Long Range Desert Group. Anybody in the community of reconnaissance, LRSR, LRP, just basically anybody in that community, in the LRSR community, has heard of the Long Range Desert Group, which basically was a raiding and reconnaissance unit of the British Army during the Second World War that the New Zealanders served with. A lot of people don't know about that, and what's really interesting, a lot of people don't even know within the reconnaissance community that they were always referred to, the LRDG group, the Long Range Desert Group, was referred to as Rat Patrol. So there was a TV show called Rat Patrol, like back in the day. I mean, like my dad watched it. I have glimpses of it. I actually YouTubed it tonight just because of the Long Range Desert Group. And that is actually where that TV show came from, right? It actually came from the New Zealanders that served with the Long Range Desert Group. And there's a factoid you'll probably only get on our channel right here. Bunch of hitters out there tracking on. The New Zealand government states that the November Zulu SAS is the premier combat unit of the New Zealand Defence Force, and it has begun operationally deployed to locations including Pacific region, Afghanistan, and the jungles of Southeast Asia. Individual members of the NZSAS has received honors and awards, most notably the Victoria Cross for New Zealand awarded to Corporal Willie Appiata. And if you don't know about that hitter, go ahead and Google him, because to be honest with you, this build today was actually I was going to use him and honor him with this build of the New Zealand Special Air Service. However, I believe that build on that individual will definitely be coming in the future, because when you talk about hitters, you're talking about Willie Appiata. Yeah, funny story about Willie Appiata is that I was actually in a live conversation like last night or the night before with this guy that claimed to know all this military history, and we were talking, we got on the subject of Special Air Service, and this guy didn't even know that New Zealand had an SAS, and I was like, well, I mean, I just found that odd, and he said that he got the New Zealand mixed up with the Australian, but here's what I'm tracking on. If you know anything about military history involving like big hitters, then you would have already heard about Willie Appiata, and that's what makes, that conversation and him. I lost a lot of respect for him, to be honest, because we're talking SAS and he doesn't even know that there was a New Zealand SAS. He said he got confused with Australia SAS, which, I suppose that could happen, but my whole thing is, if you track on military history and hitters said thereof, then you definitely know Willie Appiata was part of the New Zealand SAS. So, tracking on with that, the NZSAS was accorded regimental status in 2013. It has the responsibility of conducting counterterrorism and overseas special operations and performing the disposal of chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and explosives hazards for military and civilian authorities. So let's track on this. The NZSAS, as well as their counterparts in the UK and Australia, can be activated. First, they could get put on alert at any time. That comes with the territory of being a high-tier hitter like those in any service of the SAS. And second off, so basically track this. If you happen to be a high-tier hitter within the SAS, any SAS unit, basically you can get put on alert status if you run out of toilet paper, and really the biggest thing is you can be activated in both civilian and military operations, especially when it comes down to CT and MBC, basically counterterrorism and nuclear, biological, chemical. So just because you're in the SAS and it's part of the military does not mean that you will not get activated, sometimes more so in the civilian sector than in the military sector. So a little more history on the NZSAS. Basically, can trace its roots back to the famous long-range desert group, as stated, Rat Patrol. It was basically a British Commonwealth Army unit which fought in the North African desert in World War II. New Zealanders also served in the original SAS force during World War II. In February 1955, it was decided by the New Zealand government that a squadron based on the British SAS should be formed as part of the New Zealand Army as an effective and economic contribution to the Far East Strategic Reserve and the British counterinsurgency effort in Malaya. Now, with that being said, let's remember that Australia also decided, hey, you know what? We need an SAS too. So they were both formed really and basically modeled after the British SAS. That's something really important, and some people don't realize that the British SAS, and I'm not trying to hit on any countries out there, but the British SAS actually did start the push for special operations communities, branching out from within the UK, who, just like United States SF will go and train basically a indigenous population on strategies of warfare, the SAS UK unit does it more so within the military for other countries as well, but not only training them, but actually modeling their SAS. So that's something to remember. The British SAS is one of the first Tier 1 operational units to actually form other units under the SAS umbrellas of other countries. So on 1 May 1955, after Cabinet had given its approval, the New Zealand Special Air Service Squadron was formally established. From 24 August 1963, the unit was renamed to, you guys ready? 1 Ranger Squadron New Zealand Special Air Service, in recognition of the Forest Rangers, no cupcakes, not that kind of Forest Rangers, of the Forest Rangers who fought in the New Zealand Wars, being one of New Zealand's first Special Forces units. The unit reverted to the 1st NZ Special Air Service Squadron on 1 April 1978. From 1 January 1985, the unit was known as the 1st New Zealand Special Air Services Group until it was basically redesignated as a regiment before February 2013. When the unit was established in 1955, approval was given for members to wear a maroon beret. Airborne. The maroon beret was chosen as it was the color of the British SAS service beret. However, the British changed their beret color to Uro, which basically is like a sandy color, kind of like what us Rangers wear currently in regiment. So in late 1957, the same color as had been warned by the SAS during the early stages of World War II. On December 1985, year of our Lord, approval was granted by the New Zealand Chief of General Staff, who had previously deployed to Malaya with the original NZSAS squadron. The NZSAS was authorized to switch from maroon to the sandy colored beret worn by other Commonwealth Special Air Service units. A parade was held on 21 March 1986, year of our Lord, to formally hand the new beret over to the unit. And that's pretty cool. Honestly, I wore a black beret when I was with regiment. However, I've got to tell you that I'm tracking on the New Zealand SAS wearing the sandy beret like those of us in the 75th Regiment at present time. So this is basically how you can track on this career. Again, operational experience, professionalism, and the unrelenting pursuit of excellence are hallmarks of every NZSAS soldier. If you think you have the supreme commitment and self-discipline, this may be the career path for you. Traditionally, only military personnel from either the regular or reserve components of the New Zealand Defence Force has been able to join the NZSAS. However, entry is now open to civilian applicants as NZSAS has become an official trade specialization within the New Zealand Army. As well as meeting the minimum entry requirements for the role, NZSAS are looking for people that are physically fit and have a high level of motivation. Selected candidates will be invited to a presentation and from there may go into the NZSAS selection. This involves rigorous training, which will result in some candidates successfully completing selection and going on to Army basic training, basically the AARC, and others who do not go further, basically for those that surrender to this high-speed training, they can pursue the other trade options as defined in your contract. So probably going to send you to be a cook. Just remember that. Because not a whole lot of people join any military to be a freaking cook. And that's usually if you bail and you withdraw and you basically fucking quit like a suck ass, you'll probably end up going to advanced interval training for basically beans and hot dogs. All right. So basically, in closing, the NZSAS regiment has four main roles: surveillance and reconnaissance, combating tangoism, direct action, and support and influence. Now, if anybody has any questions on what exactly that means, surveillance and reconnaissance, combat tangoism, direct action, or support and influence, go ahead and leave me a comment. I'm sure that I'll reply, as I usually do. So the general requirements: you must be at least 20 years of age, you must have a high level of motivation, and basically meet the citizenship and security requirements to gain the security clearance for this hitters here. Fitness requirements: you must be medically fit for service. Duh, Captain Obvious. By the time you attend the New Zealand SAS presentation, you'll need to be able to pass a G1 fitness test, which is more challenging than the standard EFL test. You will be expected to complete a series of endurance-based fitness tests over a 4-hour period. Color perception restrictions may apply, so you can't be no colorblind bitch prior to joining, even though you might take some fragmentation in your face, in said face, and you might become colorblind after signing up. Okay, so basically, as stated, activated 7 July 1965, country obviously New Zealand, branch New Zealand Army Special Forces. Again, the role: special reconnaissance, direct action, counter tangoism, unconventional warfare. Basically, Special Operations Command is what they're a part of, and I hope I don't butcher this, but they're out of Papakura Military Camp in Auckland, New Zealand. Obviously, the motto of all Special Air Service: who dares wins. Their anniversary will be 7 July 1955 is the date of the anniversaries, and basically a lot of engagements. Operators: Malayan Emergency, Indonesian Confrontation, Vietnam, Operation Milford, Desert Storm, War in Afghanistan, Operation Akanda. If you don't know about that, you might want to check Operation Anaconda out. I know a little something about that. Might have to do something to do with Operation Anaconda at some point. Decorations, United States Navy Presidential Unit Citation. That's pretty hook. So, I hope you survived this long. Operators, on your feet! Let's get the fuck down range.
The shadow of death is the one I cast. I am a soldier and I'm marching on. I am a warrior and this is my song.
Fuego, fuego! So with that, we're going to go ahead and hit the back button. We're going to go ahead and double tap over to Loadout. And of course, we'll go ahead and hit that Yankee button, huh? So the head, you know, I go through this, you know, every time, but basically male. I always, you know, Mason's what got me here, so I stick with him.
Eye color brown as IRL, facial hair none. Not saying that you can't wear a beard, because trust me, they beard up pretty heavy on Operation. But I'm going to go ahead, keep it squared away with my facial hair is none. Today for the hair, though, I am going to switch it to the Warhawk today. Hair color brown as an IRL, and facial detail burn for myself. Okay, body details, of course. Now, facial paint, you can go with really whatever you want to. I just find that Bravo, it really does sort of match up with a lot of my fits recently, currently. So, we'll go ahead and throw on the facial paint Bravo. Right arm tattoo, of course. Must say, but Santa Maria.
And on the left arm, of course, mi familia, because what? Nothing's more important than your teammates and your familia. Okay, so that's pretty much, you know, par for the course for me on that section of the Loadout. Okay, tops today. Now, again, a lot of this, I really got to say that I get so upset with Ubisoft sometimes. Like, again, you know what I mean? They don't just give us like a regular type, you know, 1990s blouse. No, for long sleeve shirts, right? The only shirts that you can equip said Multicam 1234. You got your Cry Combat. This long sleeve shirt, again, would work on a lot of my builds. However, you know, you got that big gap of gringoism busting out because there's no t-shirt. But not only that, they give you 15 choices. So I've gone over this before, and it just really pisses me off that we can basically hit up with the fleece or the Cry Combat. Just horrible. It actually licks some nutsack, to be honest. Okay, so today we're going with Cry Combat. It's either this or the fleece. I don't mind you wearing the fleece, but with the Cry Combat, there are certain things that I outfit with my kit because we are wearing the Cry Combat. Put that in the 1234. Best today, of course, why wouldn't we? Motherfucking plate carrier, tack plates. And, I mean, why wouldn't we? Because this is what really all the high-speed units wear. So let's go ahead and equip that in the 1334 Sandstone. This video is getting to be a long video, but you know what, peeps? I do shit right. You want to track on some, you know, I don't know, rimp-ass, pogue-ass motherfuckers and get on down the road, huh?
So she said. Ha.
Okay, pants, again, Cry Combat, 1234. Footwear today, again, like these hitters are, we're going commando, we're going to put that in the black. Accessories. So in the accessories, Oakley SI straight jacket. So that's what I'm tracking with today. Again, this is basically an Assault SAS build today. New Zealand SAS, may I remind everybody. So I'm putting on the Oakley SI straight jacket. And since I'm on the let's kick, you know, Ubisoft and just have them kick rocks, let me also say that I actually had the straight jacket fires open, but I came back one day and they were shut down, right? And of course, now I understand why, because I got to purchase the deluxe edition to unlock this item. Even though I checked my prior video that I was sure I had this build on, and I definitely had this open. So yeah, kick rocks, Ubi. So anyway, we're just going to go ahead today and put it in the straight jackets. Base wear today, of course, you can wear the 1 or the 2 hole. Either way you want to go with the clava, that's up to you. But whichever way you go, make sure you put in the 6.9 black, please. Headwear, quite a few options for this today. So if you follow any of the SASs, but especially the Australia and the New Zealand SAS, they're all about their OD green booties. That's what they're about. Now, if you want to go ahead and wear the OD green boonie. I have no problem with that. But just, I feel like it'd be better if you take off your clava, okay? With that being said, you will take off your clava if you're wearing the boonie hat. You can also wear your sand beret. But again, no mask, straight jackets, and face camo if you're wearing either of these, because obviously you can't put on headsets with said headwear because Ubisoft won't allow it. So with that being said, again, beret or your boonie in the OD green, beret obviously in the sand, no mask at all, just your face cam. If you're going to equip those two, staying true to my build. Today, for me, I'm going to equip the carbon cut, and this is why. One, I want to wear this club eye, right? I really do. I think it fits the build perfectly, and my research of recent photographs of them is spot on, right? So go ahead, equip your carbon cut if you would like. That's your third option, right? So if you equip it, if you want to equip the panos, you can. I'm going without the panos today, right? Because I know that a ton of people do not have them unlocked. So with that being said, today I'm going with the carbon cut. And I'm going to put that as well in the 1233 multicam. Headsets. Today we're going with headset C. And the reason being, because this is the exact headset that they wear as of today. And we're going to put that in the 4.6 olive drab. That's right. It gives it a nice look. You know, if you want to put it in the sandstone, you can. But again, camouflage, always about shadows. And especially with the multicam coming up our cry, the way it just zips up our sleeve, and then we got the sand in front, that is definitely, the olive drab is definitely what you're going to hit today. Today, I ain't hating you. Go ahead, throw your Oakley pilots on and put them in the sandstone. But if you have them open, you know, for whatever reason, I'm sure I'm not the only one that loves these Echelon gloves. So if you have them open, it's up to you. You can go ahead and equip the Echelon, which I'm actually going to do. And then just your Oakley pilots, just make sure you put them in sandstone if you don't have the Echelons open. Tracking on. Backpacks, rucksacks, Alice packs. We're going to go with the 511 Rush 72. We're going to put it in the multicam black this time around. And that is because that's exactly what they carry as well, the 511 Rush 72. Now, a lot of times when I have the multi-cry on, I actually do love putting on the sand. Yeah, the sandstone. I get them confused because the Coyote Brown and the sandstone are the same. However, a lot of times when I'm wearing the multicam, I will go ahead and throw the sandstone on. I apologize. If I'm not wearing the multicam, let me take a spit and get a pop going on. Oh, yeah. All right. Clear the mechanism. Hey, live stream, let's go. So today we're going with the 511 Rush 72. Now, here's the thing with it. When I'm wearing that specific top, right? Because of, if it's not multicam, I usually do equip it in the sandstone. But because we're wearing the multicam today, and basically, as stated, it just runs up our sleeve, and basically the rest of it is sandstone. Today is why shadows and light is what you work with camouflage, and that is a perfect example of it from the rear, right? However, if you hit the sandstone and then the multicam, which one do you think blends better as a whole with this fit? Of course, the 1233 multicam in the 511 Rush 72, and that's what we're tracking on right there. Patches, of course, if you have the New Zealand, or if you're from New Zealand, I would venture a guess that you're going to put your country's flag on, and that's fucking hood. However, you roll with me, you roll with Romeo 9. Let's roll. That's the fit today. That is the uni we'll be falling out with today. I think it's full of whoism, and I think it really does the New Zealand SAS members proud. I am proud to say. Ugh. All right, getting on with the weapon loadout. Huh? So basically, for the primaries, you see, we're going to go ahead and equip the AUG 83. Now, I have it on good authority that all SAS units actually use, more often than not, the M4. Huh? But kicking it New Zealand Defense Force style and New Zealand SAS style, we're going to go ahead and put this AUG on, and let's go ahead and break it down. Obviously, paints, usually 95% of the time on my builds, the paint, the body of the weapon is going to be black because, hey, again, we try to keep it real here on our channel. All right, so we'll go ahead, throw that bad boy in black, and let's track. So, scope, I'm not hating you if you want to go with the ACOG, but I happen to really, one, dig this digital scope, and two, I think it looks a lot better on the AUG. Huh? So go ahead, equip the digital scope in the black. Trigger, obviously, full auto semi. Magazine, only 30 rounds. What does that mean? Got to practice fire control. Huh? Put that in the 1-2. Black. Underbarrel, today we're going with the Victor 3 because we've been using the hell out of the Victor 4. Also, I think that the Victor 3, again, cosmetically, looks a little better on the AUG 83. Now, let me tell you something, though. It's not like the Victor 3 some punk-ass freaking attachment. It's very, I like the swivel. I like the fact it has a swivel so that you can pretty much dig it in if you have to and use it somewhat as a pod type to give your weapon a little more balance. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the foregrip Victor 3, and as a matter of fact, you get a little more accuracy out of it. So today, that's what we're going with. Go ahead, equip that bad boy in the gray. Rail, today, yes, we are authorized to use the laser in case you run into a little CQB while we're freaking, you know, if you know what I'm saying, on CT mission. So, with that being said, we're going with the laser 3 today. Throw that in the black barrel. We're going to standard barrel today. What's the use of having this weapon in a long barrel? It just doesn't make any sense to me. So, we'll put it in the standard barrel and go ahead and hit that with the gray. Muzzle today. We're going to go ahead on our primary and equip the suppressor. Put it in the black as well as the stock muzzle. However, for today's build, we will be equipping the suppressor. Huh? Yeah, I know. You heard Matrix right. I mean, we hardly ever fly out with a suppressor, but this is why. Go ahead and throw it in black, and this is why. That suppressor fits this, I don't know, like peanut butter and jelly. I don't freaking know, like peas and carrots, like Mama said. But yeah, that's, I gotta tell you, man, that looks slick to me. Enough that I really don't care for the bullpups, but I gotta tell you, this thing does kick like a mule. I mean, it's hard to really balance this thing out in this specific game. But again, I believe it's because I'm just not used to the bullpups. So that's not what I shot my entire career in the military and law enforcement. It's just, you know, I've always had my magazine feed in front of my trigger assembly. With that being said, though, I'm liking the looks of the AUG here. So that'll do it for our primary. Secondary today, as just stated, this is an Assault New Zealand SAS operator. So also as stated, they do use the heck out of the M4A1. So go ahead, equip the M4A1 and follow along. Again, paints, put it in the black. Parts, stock bud stock, obviously in the black. Scope, we're going to track on with the ACOG today. I have nothing against the ACOG. In this specific game, I just happen to like the digital just a wee bit better. However, we're going to keep it real, and we're going to go with the 4x ACOG right there. Put that in the black. Trigger, full auto semi, obviously. Magazine, we're going with a full load. That's what she said. Large 50, let's go. Plenty of rounds go down range. Underbarrel, even more fragmentation to cover your team members that are in front of you in case you're pulling that DMR duty, that Overwatch duty. That's why we're going to go ahead and put this heartbreaker on. That Mike 203. Let's go. 1-2 black on that bad boy. Rail, go ahead. Throw it on the rangefinder. And this is why I put that in the gray. Barrel, again, we're kind of converting this into a DMR today, who, in case we're not the one out front, and we're basically covering, say, 3 other members with this exact loadout. Oh, well, guess what? Somebody's got to be in the rear with Overwatch, and I feel the long barrel would suit us really, really nicely as Overwatch, as the primary DMR. So that's what we're going with. You're going to stick that in the gray. Muzzle, of course, Victor 2, 100%. Why wouldn't we? 1-2 black. We're carrying the compensator again on our primary. For Overwatch, you want that range. You want to, reach out like AT&T and touch someone. That's why we're going to Victor 2, because they'll also silence up your weapon as needed. Let's freaking go. And that's our secondary today. M4A1 used, I believe this weapon here is used by about every special operations unit globally, except maybe, fucking North Korea and some shit like that, some back-assward country. But anyway, M4A1, as you guys know, this is, I love this weapon. The M16, that's how we're going to roll. Okay, let's get on to the pistola. Today, of course, this is what they carry to this day, the 6 Hour. And why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? One of the most, look, I can go on and on. You guys have all heard it before, but I'm telling you, the SIG, slowly but surely, the more I fire it, the more, I'm not saying it takes the place by any means of the 4511, but what I am telling you, though, is that a 6 Hour is one of the most capable, as well as one of the most dependable pistols that you will, look, to me, personal opinion, it blows the tits out of the Glock, okay? There's really no comparison in this operator's opinion, So go ahead, throw that baby in the black, let's part it out. Magazine, another beautiful reason to carry the 6 Hour, right? It's nice, it fits in my hand like no other, and extended 15, and you don't look like an R-tard. Put it in the 1-2 black. Today, keep a clean rail cover in the gray. Barrel, standard barrel, obviously in the gray. Stock muzzle, we will be putting our suppressor in the black today. Stock muzzle in the black, and we'll go ahead and fall out with this mighty pistol here, the 6 Hour. Tracking on. Medic drones, what I carry, of course, you can carry just about whatever your team needs. That's one thing. If we all go out New Zealand SAS style and we all absolutely go 100% to this build, one thing that we will be switching up is the accessibles that you can carry. In fact, I know that I'll be unlocking the flash grenades probably as soon as I boot this game up and play the next time, because I definitely got the skill points to open it up. I really don't know why I hadn't, because today's build would actually be good with some C4, frags, flare gun. Or you could go flash grenade, C4, flare gun. Especially if you got the 203. If you got the 203, basically, it's not quite a fragmentation grenade, however, like an M67 or whatnot, but it's kind of like having 8 frag grenades, in one, Mike going down range. It's pretty freaking cool. But again, all this is optional. Be honest, this is with you and your teammates. So you know what to do. Tell all your friends about our channel. Go ahead and snipe the sub. I'll catch you next video. Kuss!
Commando!
Operator 41. That's how we roll.
Dreaming big, town is small, and it's going down. All I need is a microphone, I'm headed for the ground, y'all.
God, those Dayglow sights, though. Fucking high speed as shit, bro. This SIG is something else, man. It's something special. Fuego, fuego! You gotta stay here. Hey, one of my favorite subjects. right, cool, man.
I'll catch you later, amigo.
Thanks for hanging out on the stream with me, man. Good luck on that.